Hi, this is John Leslie. Art teams typically create characters, vehicles, environment assets, props, etc. with a repeatable pipeline. Each asset of a certain type has a sequential set of stages it must pass through from concept to in-game and eventual release. While every art team will have different flows with different stages, this template will help get you started in Favro. It includes an art asset backlog for organizing and prioritizing assets, an asset roadmap to visually plan assets on a timeline, an easy-to-modify pipeline board, and an art asset review board. The pipeline board can be toggled to a cumulative flow diagram to visualize bottlenecks and a control chart to view art asset average lead times, average cycle times, and throughput for any time box you choose. Let me walk you through the template. Let's begin here with this sample art asset backlog. This is where you can separate and organize all of your art assets, maybe by characters, weapons, cars, environment props, etc. You can use tagging to additionally call out what type of art asset each one of these happens to be. This is also where you prioritize your assets and also give them a relative size or estimate. Now, if I scroll over here to this relations column, you can see how the backlog asset items can be tied to their actual execution and planning over here on the right. So say, for example, we want to see Shadow Agent 42 on this roadmap. It's as simple as drag and drop over to the roadmap like this. Now, once you're ready to begin work on that particular art asset, say again Shadow Agent 42, we'll open up this art asset Kanban/pipeline, and we'll drag that same art asset to the pipeline into this characters swim lane. You can see that we also have a sample weapon swim lane, just for the sake of example. Now, as this moves from sketch to illustration to model and texture, that can all be tracked back here in the backlog, not only for this art asset, but for all of your art assets currently in development. Now, say when it moves to review, that same art asset card has automatically been added to an art director's review board, which you can see here, but this board could also exist in a very specific art director collection, and maybe also here because the boards can exist in multiple places simultaneously. Now, as this moves from ready for review to art director review, the art team members are able to see that it is currently in art director review thanks to relations directly on the card. If it's approved, then it can automatically be tagged as approved. And then back up here, the art team knows that maybe it's ready to move that particular art asset in game. Now, the boards themselves, this particular Kanban/pipeline board, can be toggled to charts and graphs. So if we want to see potential bottlenecks, maybe we can switch it to a cumulative flow chart like this. Whichever line happens to be the thickest is representing where our bottleneck happens to be. Maybe we can see that review over time is starting to get thicker and thicker, meaning that that's where the majority of time is being spent for each particular art asset. If you wanted to see average lead times, cycle times, you could switch it to a control chart. You can also see per art asset lead time, cycle times, also known as time on board and time in column, by toggling them on like this directly on the cards, showing where we might have a particular art asset stuck in a particular stage for too long. And there you have it, an art asset team template in Favro.